Welcome back everyone to our gameplay of Transport Fever, and things are really starting to pick up. I've noticed that really I can't keep up with all the demand. I mean, if we just scroll over and take a quick look here, we got 191 of our rock that needs to get over to the refinery area. We have got our construction going to San Antonio. That route is doing great and continues to grow. So we need to add some more vehicles to those. But before we do that, I have found another connection that I believe we can make on the industry side of things. So here we have our oil well, which produces oil. But right over here, the closest place I can find for a refinery is just over between San Antonio and up here in Kansas City. And the good news is there's already an existing road work to take advantage of this. And of course, we're already using all of this road up through San Antonio. So the one thing we're going to need to do is make a bridge to connect us across. And I've been reluctant to do that up to this point because I don't want to block what we're going to be doing later on with the ships. But as we talked about in the last video, there are really no areas up here to the northern part of the map that I believe we're going to be blocking, at least for now. We can always revisit this and redo some of this later on if need be, because it's going to be a bridge. That's what we need to build across here. So if we ultimately need to rebuild it later on, I'm sure by that point we should have plenty of money to do so. You can see technology is progressing with our ships, so who knows, maybe pretty soon we'll be able to add our first shipping route. But for right now, we want to build this bridge. So let's go ahead and get started with that. We want a road, and let's see, let's go ahead and do a large street, and we'll see how much this is going to cost. So I'm going to come right up in here somewhere. Let's see what this does. All right, let's scroll in a little bit. Okay, so the main thing is this side is not way off the ground. It looks like it's basically at ground level. Unfortunately, that's not doing us any favors right here in the center. And okay, so regardless of what we choose here, we can't do just the basic earth, so we'll have to, let's see what happens if we go up. All right, we can open up a route by doing it this way, but then we get way too tall over here. Yeah, that's going to be our best bet right now. We'll just have to deal with this later on if we decide to put some ports up on the northern part of the map, maybe for some of these cities that are up there. But we'll cross that bridge if we get there. So now we need to connect these out, actually. Let's come back. I don't want to do that road just yet. We're not quite there. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. It's 38,000. It'll be well worth it. There's another junction. Okay, so we're connected. I like that. All right, awesome. We're sitting at 2.72 million. I'm not going to pay down the loan just yet because we're about to spend even more money as we get some new routes going. All right, so we need to come back to our street. 40 kilometers per hour is perfectly fine. Let's see. I like this, 167,000. It's probably the shortest route we can get. It's fairly flat. I mean, you got a little bit of work here to be done, but overall, I don't think that's too bad. It certainly could be worse. We'll see how things go in the future as we start trying to upgrade some of these roads as time passes. But now that should give us everything we need to transport our oil. So now we need to come down and start to add some more of these truck stations. So let's go ahead and add one right in here. Let's get it. There we go. There's one for the oil well. Now we need to come over to the refinery and do the same thing. Okay. So now that gives us a route, but you can see this is going to be a long route. So we're going to have to put a bunch of trucks on this right now. in order to get any use out of it. But here's the good thing. Not only are we going to be transporting oil over here to the refinery, but then this refinery is going to make fuel that we can then transport to the cities. And we've got a couple of cities here nearby with Kansas City and San Antonio. So I believe this is going to be a huge moneymaker for us, but I'm just not sure how quickly it's going to be able to start generating income. So we're going to have to find out about that as we go. But for right now, let's go ahead and let's see. We're going to go right by this depot anyway. Yeah, so no reason not to combine this into one line. So let's go ahead and do that. So we need to start down here at the oil well. Then we'll deliver to the refinery. And then finally we'll come over to this depot and deliver that fuel. All right, so this is going to be, I have no idea. Let's just call this fuel. And for right now, we'll just do SA since we're ultimately going to San Antonio with this one. All in one route. Okay, so now we need to pick up, let's see, where do we want to get our trucks from? Looks like this is going to be our closest depot. We could always build another one, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. All right, so let's make sure we scroll down and get our new route up in the line manager. So let's buy some more vehicles. Freight, we want the horse cart, and we're going to buy 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I believe that's 10. Who knows, it might be 11. And if it's 11, that's perfectly fine with me. All right, so we're going fuel. And I'm going to try to spread these out just a little bit, but again, I'm not going to worry too terribly much about spreading these out. I think we're going to be fine. And in all likelihood, we're going to need to expand this in the future anyway. So we'll probably be coming back in and adding some more vehicles to the route. But I'm trying to give them just a little bit of distance between them. All right, and the whole time we're trying to keep an eye on our frequency for our route. Of course, right now here at the beginning, it's not going to be all that good. But as we get closer to all 10, I believe it's going to get a lot better. My goal is to get this somewhere between 1 and 2 minutes. And if we can do that, I think that will give us a great start. We should be getting paid in 2 ways. One for transporting the oil to the refinery, and then the fuel from the refinery over to the city. So I think this is going to be a nice, profitable route if we can get this thing just right. All right, here you can see, all right, I like this. We've already got a lot of oil that is getting there. So that means even our first loads should be full, at least on this part. Let's see. That ought to give them a little bit of space. So here comes our first guys. Yes. So this is going to be our first guy coming out right now of our 10. All right, give these guys a little bit more time. And I think they're spread out about as good as I'm going to be able to do this with the patience that I have for this game. This is where I really wish there was another level of fast forward here, because if there was, that would give us, I believe, just what we need. All right, so 10 is going to give us 5 minutes. Now keep in mind we've got 2 additional stops, so 5 minutes isn't terrible, but now I want to set up another route, and then we'll come back and revisit this fuel for San Antonio route momentarily. So we're going to let these guys get up and running. Of course, no production just yet, but it does say line usage is yes. So that's good news. And I think, let's take a look at our overlay. Fuel needs to go, oh wow. Fuel needs to go right up in this area in the industrial part. So let's just go ahead and do one. We might be able to get by with one down here, but I'm not sure. So I'm not terribly thrilled about taking a chance with that. So let's just go ahead. We've got plenty of money. We got $3.5 million. That should not be an issue. We're going to block an intersection here, it looks like. I'm going to try not to do that, but it looks like I don't have a choice if I'm going to put my station right there. All right, so we'll try. Let's see if I can help these guys out. Let's just drop them one out here. Maybe they can use that and go up and around. We'll see. All right, so now I need a new route. Let's see, where's our first? All of these guys are not going where we want them to go. So it looks like these are going to be our first guys. They're not quite there yet, but let's go ahead and purchase some vehicles for this route where we're going to take fuel from our refinery up to Kansas City at this new location we've just established. I like that. In fact, that'll give us a little bit of time for these vehicles to travel, and that might be the time we need as we get this route up and going. Let's see, we need a new route for that, a new line. So this line's going to come from the refinery up to Kansas City. So that will make this line fuel KC. All right, now we need some vehicles. So let's see, do we want to go 10 on here as well? Let's go maybe 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I think that will work out. But again, we'll just consult the frequency here. So we're going to have to add some more over here. I'm not happy with just having that few on that route. Of course, it is a long route right now with the technology we have. All right, again, trying to give these guys a little bit of room in between them, but my patience will only go so far and allow me to wait so long before I send the next one going. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm looking for the first one to actually head down to this this depot. Okay, not quite there. We are at a point now where I'm going to have to start really paring this down up here because we've got so many routes and so many vehicles that it's just going to be too much to handle at one time. So the way we're going to do that is actually to filter this out. All right, here we come. So we've got our first vehicles that have made it over here. Let's see. Okay, so there was our fuel delivery. So this should get our production started. Sure enough, there we go. And let's go ahead and establish this last one. And what does that give us? Okay, 4 minutes. That's not terrible with only 7 vehicles. So now what I want to do is let's come back over. We are spending tons and tons of money. But again, long term, I think it's going to be worth it. All right, so the Fuel San Antonio route is already showing a profit. That's what I like to see. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some more to that route and try to get down closer to at least 3 minutes for now. And ultimately, we want to get a lot better than that. So let's add, we might as well go 5. Just make it a nice round number. We'll just do 5. So let's see, Fuel San Antonio. Of course, we're going to need some more on this one because we're providing all of the oil with this route. Okay, so far so good. Numbers are coming down nicely. We're at 4 minutes. So we add 3 more. We might be where we want to be. right, this next batch of 5 should be a good bit separated from the initial vehicles that we put on this route. Okay, so it shows 3 minutes. We'll give it a minute to catch up. And in the meantime, let's see, how are we doing on food? Okay, food, not bad. Not bad right there. And then if we come back over here, what kind of fuel do we have? Okay, so we're using both routes. Still pretty low numbers. How's our production? Oh yeah, production is really ramping up. So the more fuel, or excuse me, the more oil we can get over here, the more fuel we're going to have. And ultimately, I think that's going to be really good. But something I want to pay particular attention to right now is, notice this Fuel San Antonio route has already made us a few $100,000 in profit. And again, that'll always fluctuate as time goes on. But right now, it is already showing a very, very nice profit. All right, so that's getting fuel to a couple of cities. And let's see how we're doing on, do we have any in storage? Well, they have some oil in storage. We're not using it. I don't really have anywhere to take it just yet. But we don't have any stored for the oil or the fuel, but you can see tons of potential. All right, as this continues to update, you can see we're down to 3 minutes now for both of these routes. Let's go ahead and add a few more vehicles here. We're at 4.7 million, so we're doing great. And we haven't even touched railroads or anything close to that. No ships, no anything. So I'm pretty excited about that. Let's add 3 more. And we're going to put these on the Fuel Kansas City route. There we go. We'll go ahead and put all of these pretty close together. All right, there we go. That'll give them a little bit of separation, but not a whole lot. All right, so that gets us down. Well, we're getting close to 2 minutes. Not quite there. But that should spur on some more production. You can see the Kansas City line right now is the only one that has any. Production, oh, they must have run out of oil. That must be, all of these are on the food route. Yeah, all of these are food. All right, so we need some more on this route. Now we've started to turn just a little bit of a profit on this Kansas City fuel route, so I like that. So far, so good. But it does look like they have... All right, so he's picking up, that's from the Kansas City route. These other two, I'm sure, are also from the Kansas City route. Yes, where's all of our oil? We need a whole bunch more of that. You can see there's tons and tons of demand here. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little closer. Yeah, 70. And how's the production going? Okay, they've slowed down production because we're not picking up all of it. All right, so 3 minutes is going to be too long. Let's go ahead and add some more to this. This is when it gets fun for me, when I get to just continually add vehicles to routes. Let's go 5 more, because why not? We've got some money to play around with right now. Let's just go ahead and make it happen. So fuel to San Antonio. All right, so far so good. I see this number continuing to come down and get ever closer to that 2-minute mark. All right, so I continue to watch the top of the screen because as time goes along, we're in 1890. We're eventually going to get into our first powered vehicles at some point as we get into the 1900s. I'm just not sure exactly when that's going to happen. All right, so there we go. We're down to 2 minutes on this route. and our profit is not looking good on that one, but I would imagine that's simply because of this long drive, and we're still needing a little bit of help on this route to try to even this flow out a little bit more, because what we need to do is make sure that they always have some products in storage, and right now they do not. So let's see, here we go. Okay, so there's some oil coming in there. All right, now we've got another, looks like a long line of oil that's probably coming in. Yeah, here they come. But you can see large gaps in here in between. So we're trying to shore this up as time goes on. Let's go ahead and close out some of these overlays. All right, so as we take a look out, look at this. This is awesome. Over here, 182. Are they still producing? Yes, they are. They are absolutely producing. Wow, I really wish I had another industry nearby where I could take these, but I really just don't right now. There's just nowhere to take it. You can see there's another oil field down here. All right, let's see how things are going. Yeah, you can see the fuel is starting to come back in, and these guys, of course, are gobbling it up as soon as they can. All right, let's keep this window open because we want to keep track of how much fuel is being created. Production up and running. Okay, I really like these potential numbers. This is very nice. So our job at this point is simple. We just need to keep a steady flow into this refinery, and I think we're going to get a lot of fuel because right now we're just not getting nearly enough, I don't think. The routes are doing quite nice. We're losing money here on our Kansas City route simply because we don't have enough fuel being created. But we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, let's come back over and let's see what we're doing here with this construction route. Let's scroll back up a little bit. In fact, let's narrow this down. So this will show us only the ones that are the routes that are visible at our spot on the map. So as I move around the map, you can see that the routes that show up in here in the line manager are going to change. And right now, there's no way I can resist this temptation. 185. How are we doing down here? Oh, wow. Look at this. Construction to San Antonio, 52. All right, we got to get more on this. Do they have anything that they're storing? Not much. Not much at all. This is really good. So if we keep pushing the issue, so construction to San Antonio is what we want. Let's buy some more road vehicles. So let's go 1, 2, 3. 3 should do it. And we'll revisit this in a little bit and see if that indeed is enough. So construction to San Antonio down to 113 seconds. So we're less than 2 minutes. All right, let's give it a second. Then we'll get this last one going. We're going to be down under 100 seconds with this last vehicle, I would imagine. Okay, there we go. And now, let's go ahead and pick up some additional ones. If you're watching the money in the bottom left-hand corner, I glance at it from time to time. We're at 5.8 million. So things are just going amazingly well. And the really good thing is time is passing, so that's getting us closer and closer to some better technology. All right, so there's 5 new vehicles that we're about to turn loose on this construction to RC path, which, if I'm not mistaken, yes, that's the path we want. Let's see, how is this route doing? Yeah, 162,000. I like that. Okay, so this one's up and going. Vehicle 155. I also need to make sure I don't forget to set up the auto replace function on these, because I'm sure we're about to have some things pop up, some messages telling us that we need to replace some vehicles, because you notice this is grayed out. I have not gotten that done on all of these routes, so we'll take a moment and do that here in just a second. Okay, we're down to 45 seconds here for that. I really like that. Let's see, the fuel. Wow, this fuel route is doing amazingly well. Okay, let's scroll over a little bit. You can see some more fuel being created for the KC route. Not as much for the San Antonio route. So right now, the San Antonio route is functioning primarily as our deliverer of our ingredients, while the KC route is delivering most of our final product. All right, so let's see. We got 64. We need to hit that production up even higher. So we're probably going to expand this here pretty shortly. I'm not terribly worried about the profitability, because you can see it's doing great. And as we get more fuel that is created, I would imagine that will push this KC route into the positive as well. But right now they're just struggling to produce enough to keep up with the demand. But you can see that number is ever growing. So we're just going to keep pressing the issue. And the way we do that is to keep getting more vehicles and keep pushing in that direction. All right, so let's just go ahead and get 5 more. Why not? So fuel, let's see, which one was it we wanted? I've already forgotten. San Antonio, okay. That's what I was thinking, but it's always good to make sure. Again, we're getting so many routes and vehicles now. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep up with exactly what we're doing at any given time, which is why that auto replace function is without a doubt something I need. All right, so that puts us, okay, this ought to get us with these last couple down below 100 seconds, which isn't quite low enough, I don't think, long term. But for right now, it's just going to have to do. All right, so we'll let that play out a little bit. But I think we're going to be in good shape. I mean, look at this, 105 sitting there waiting on us. That's a lot of vehicles right now we would need to pick up 105 oil canisters. All right, let's look. Let's see. Food one, yes, 341,333. Our construction well into the positive. I like it. I like it a lot. We just need to provide as much oil as this refinery can stand. Because you can see, once again, production is at 0 because they don't have any oil. Hopefully that's what some of these guys nearby are bringing. I'm not seeing what I want to see. All of these are food, which is also good. But I really need some more fuel. Where is all my oil? Wow. Yeah, these guys are all jammed together, apparently. Because as I look around, I mean, we're getting really no luck. Okay, so why does this guy have... Why does he still have 4 of 5 on that? Why did he not take that right here and drop it off? That is very interesting. All right, we got a new vehicle. That's not what we're looking for right now. That is interesting. These guys are still carrying... All right, we're just going to let them do their thing because I'll have to look at that a little bit more later on, because that is a little confusing to me why they haven't dropped that off. But hopefully there's just something I'm missing, because things seem to be going along pretty well. Fuel is still not getting created as often as we need it to. Let's see. Let's actually get rid of this for a moment. Get rid of our filter, and let's set up some automatic replacement. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute now. So steam wagons had powered road traction. Okay, I was just assuming that that was a some sort of locomotive when I glanced at it. So then the capacity, let's just see what we've got here. Capacity is at 6, top speed is at 25. Okay, so a small increase there over the horse cart. Lifespan is longer. Running cost 5.27K, 3.62. I'm actually not sure about that, but it is the next step in the process. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and use it. So we'll go ahead and drop that in there. We'll do auto replacement, and hopefully that will work out well for us. All right, that's our other construction. Let's see, now our fuel routes. Okay, second fuel route, replacement vehicle. All right, I also need to look into a way, because one of the issues you do have with these routes is that whenever you set up the automatic replacement, that auto replacement doesn't change as time goes forward. So if we have it set up to replace with horse carts, just because we have a new vehicle available doesn't mean it's going to automatically use that. So something there to take advantage of. Now I see, look at that, we've got construction. So they're moving this construction material to places I never dreamed they would. So, okay, hey, as long as it's making us money, I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm certainly not going to spend a lot of time trying to deconstruct this thing. As long as it's working, and I'm going to be happy. Wow, look at the growth here at this farm. How much are they producing now? They still haven't upgraded. Yikes. So if we ever get them upgraded, they are going to be a handful. And the way we could upgrade them would be to start to use this other processing plant for food. Right now we're only using one. So if we extend, is there a road down here? There is a road. Yes, there's a road network that runs right through here. So that's a possibility maybe for the future. And at some point, we're going to get our first rail networks and actually start to move some product around using our first rail cars. But for today, look at our money. In fact, let's just go ahead and celebrate by paying off this loan. There we go. Now we're down to $5.5 million, but it is loan free. And you see our profitability still doing great, even though we have spent a ton of money here recently on some new vehicles. So right now, very happy with the progress we are making here in the last couple of videos. I mean, you can see products are just lining up for us to pick up. So we're going to continue to expand. I'm going to make some adjustments to our auto replace to make sure we're getting the newest vehicles possible. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. And stay tuned for more Transport Fever.